This is an overview of the park and preserve. This is the entrance. Here's the Highway 3 that comes down. Riley Campground is up here. The visitor center, headquarters, and park information, all of that is right up in here. You can come out to this far with a private vehicle. This is a Savage River trailhead. And beyond that, you need, if you're going in a private vehicle, you need the Teklanika pass, I believe. There may be another reason, but that's, you don't get, we were stopped for 10 minutes for sheep crossing, just because it's required, and we did not see any other traffic. The Teklanika River, or the campground here, is at mile 29, and there you can bring your own RV. When you come on down, somewhere right around in here is where the landslide was, and that is as far as you can go, if I'm not mistaken. Their plans are to get a bridge built across that area by the year of 2027. Okay, this is a zoom in of that front section of the park. Once again, this is Highway 3. Here is the park road. And as you come in, the very first thing you come to is the Teklanika Campground, except you need to go in and get your reservations and your parking fee and everything. As you come into this area, you can go all the way around back. Well, everyone comes around here, but you can come up here and park, and there is RV parking. Or you can come around here, and this is where the dump station is. 4 lanes, fresh water, non-potable water near the dump, and fresh water at the end of each lane. Very nice. There is also a laundromat and mercantile in this area, so this is a handy area, and the laundromat appeared to be pretty reasonable. From there, if you're going to the bus depot, it's here. Coming on around, this is the visitor center campus, is what they call it. And it has a grill, the visitor center with the park information, etc. And restrooms, and a lot of information there. And then this is the main road coming out. You can ride a bus or take a bike, or there is limited parking out here at the dog sled kennel, and we went and did that. So then it is 11 miles further down to the Savage River.
Hi, welcome to Two Tired Teachers.
We are coming at you from the Riley Campground in Denali National Park. And go ahead.
So far, this day has been wonderful, but very full.
And our reservations, we made a reservation for 1 night at the Riley Campground and 3 nights at the Teklanika, because that's what you have to do. But we decided 1 night here so that we could explore this area. And our day started off with leaving our free dispersed site at Quarry Road, which is, I believe, 48 miles north of Denali.
And it took about an hour, a little longer to get here.
And first thing we did, as you come into the park, the first real thing you see is the mercantile that has the camp reservation office. And then also in that little area, there are restrooms, showers, laundromat, and then a dump station. And that was our first stop.
Yes.
And 4 lanes. And
all going the same direction.
Yeah, as you go in, it tells you that there's parking, RV parking, or dump station. It just adds a little bit onto that loop. But it's really nice because
and quick.
It has the dump and non-potable water, and then at the end of that aisle, it has potable water, and we carry enough hose so that we can do both at the same time.
Yeah.
And so then we went and parked in the RV parking and went in to get our reservations. Now, like we said, we had 2 different reservations. It took a while, but we were able to get the girl was very helpful, and gave us our Riley reservation information and the Teklanika reservation at the same time. And we're going to talk about Tech in a separate video.
Check-in at any park in this park, any campground in this park, is 11 o'clock. So it was busy because...
It was like 10:45 when we were there.
People aren't getting there real early.
And the other reason it was super busy was because we checked in on July 15th, and that was the very first day after the June of 2024 fires had been completely contained, 100% now. And they had just opened the Raleigh campground. And I believe that was where some firefighters had stayed in that campground. And so it was being used for that.
And, folks, it's one more time. We often tell you, you need to kind of roll with the flow. We hoped we would get our reservations because we're not going to be coming to Denali real often. But if we hadn't,
it was not.
There's nothing you can do.
Yeah. And so people who had their reservations canceled, some of them were able to get 1 or 2 nights and were getting, taking advantage of that.
Not very happily, but they were taking advantage of it.
But folks, we crammed so much into that day. As soon as at 11 o'clock, that was weird. We did not, I wish we had filmed this, but it was so eerie driving into a national park campground that was completely empty.
Yes.
And I'm sorry we didn't. We were looking for a spot. The way the campsites are set up at Riley, you reserve an A site or a B site or a C site. C sites are walk-in. A sites are 40-foot long. B sites, I believe, are 20, possibly 25. I don't remember. They're guaranteed to be that length. Some of them will be a little bit longer. And we went back and forth with which kind of a campsite we wanted to reserve. But bottom line is, we've been to national parks that do not have overflow parking in or near the campground. Yeah, the campground we were at, there was no overflow parking anywhere. And so if we'd been just a foot or two longer, we couldn't have stayed. And so we didn't want to get here and find out we're going to be turned away. And so we went with an A site,
which was a good decision.
We actually stayed hitched because we didn't. We unhitched,
so that we
went and explored, and then hitched before we went to bed, so we were ready to leave the next morning. But we found our site, and it's beautiful, and the campground is beautiful, and everything's wonderful. But then we went exploring.
And the first place we went was to the visitor center.
And the visitor center campus is what they call it.
Yes.
There is a lot there. There is the welcome center. There's a park store. There's a grill, showers. And then, but the welcome center is what you would expect of a national park welcome center.
And because I haven't had my right knee replaced yet, I will tell you that it's ADA accessible. They have an elevator where you can go to the second floor without trying stairs. Yeah,
and down to the first, because there's more of an exhibit area.
Yes.
Down on that lower level, and they just have some really super cool stuff. And with this park, this is a park and preserve, which makes it kind of a more stringent in a lot of ways, and it was changed from Mount McKinley to Denali, and so there was history and information about that.
Officially, Obama, one of the rangers told us, changed the name from the mountain to Denali, and while he was president.
Well, during his reign. But anyway, administration there. But the visitor center had just so much really neat stuff, and we enjoyed going around and playing with all the stuff they had for kids to play with.
They had a huge moose.
And the doll sheep, which is actually, fun fact,
it is the reason that this is a preserve.
But anyway, so that was a neat place to go and explore. And when we left there, we went to the dog sled exhibit. And that is this year. You need to check when you come, but it's at 10, 2, and 4, I believe. 10 noon and 4. 10 noon. Check the times on that. 10 and 2, I know are times.
Yeah.
The other one, it's either noon or 4, and I don't remember. But it is fun, and you can get there and go out and walk around and see the dogs. Folks, it's not like you're going to jump in a pen with them and just play. No. These are working dogs.
But if they come up to where you can pet them, you can love on them, rub on their bellies, whatever you want to do.
Whatever they will let you do.
Yeah.
These are Alaskan Huskies, not Siberian Huskies, and they are bred to work.
Yes.
And they do...
And you may be wondering, well, in the middle of the summer, do they run? Yes, they run.
There's a section of the park road that has signs, watch for sled dogs working. And so they want to keep them up. But the dogs are an important part of the park because this is a preserve. That is how rangers can go out to remote areas of the park and still follow all the guidelines for a preserve. They're not using motor vehicles. They're not using, anything like that. And so,
fun fact, the only national park in the U.S. with a dog sled team.
And they do breed their own, essentially to replace the ones that retire, and they retire them at age 9 and find them a good home in a cool climate.
Yes. And if you're thinking that, well, that's kind of cruel to make them, you should see those dogs when they come around to leash them up to get them ready to run. They're ready.
Oh, yeah, that is what they live for. They are so
excited.
But it was a fun demonstration and very popular. And there are free shuttles that take you out there. And so there's very limited parking. So they do ask that you either bike, which it's uphill, so you want to have an electric bike if you're doing that. But anyway,
with a good battery.
We went and did that, and then after we left there, we went out to Savage Creek or Savage River. We wanted to drive out as far as we could unhitched to see anything we wanted to see.
And that is as far as you can go. There's a check station there.
Yeah, it's 13 miles inside the park, and that is where you have to show proof that you are going out to the Teklanika campground if you're taking a personal vehicle.
Yes.
But that day, there's a parking lot prior to the river that you can just go and park in. Or if you are oversized, they will let you in on the other side to try and find somewhere to park there. But anyway, we found a parking spot, and there was a ranger, and so I just asked him, I said, is this glacier water? And he said, no, it's clear. And I said, are there fish? And he said, yeah, Arctic grayling. And I said, okay, well, I had asked when we were in the visitor center about fishing regulations for the park, and basically, there really are none. You do not have to have a license as of 2024. The information says this is not a well-known fishing destination because so much of the water is glacial water.
Yes.
Fish can't survive because of the silt. And so this happens to be a clear stream or river. And so I had been fishing a few days ago.
Limit.
There's a 10 fish limit. And that's that you catch, not that you keep, but that you catch. So if you catch, you catch and release some
that
small ones or whatever
one.
that counts as, or you just catch and release. Those count as your 10. So anyway, I'd been fishing for trout prior, and so I thought, well, I'll just take what I have, a little spinner and a little plastic jig. And I cast actually downstream and let the current just carry it. And I start reeling back, and I think, oh man, I've gotten hooked on a rock. And I actually let out a little bit of line, and then start reeling and realize that rock is pulling.
First cast.
And while it was still there in the water, because I had never seen an Arctic grayling in person, and certainly never caught one, And so I took a picture of him, and then as I brought him up to try and actually get a selfie with it, he released himself. And so I was so glad I'd taken that picture.
Yes.
But that was so much fun. That was on my bucket list because there are no Arctic graylings in Texas. And so I knew this was going to be my one shot to catch one. And so I was so excited.
Arctic, and there are none in Texas?
But anyway, and so that was a very fun stop. And we just kind of took our time. And when we finished with that, I think we went out of the park to just some of the little shops that are kind of across the road and out just a little bit. And, you know, we got a few things there, but
Souvenir things.
don't tell anybody, but Walmart, Walmart and Fairbanks actually had a souvenir section, and we're assuming Anchorage will as well. So that's where we're going to do most of that. And then that evening, I went to a ranger-led program. The title was "You Don't Step in That." And
Tell them about the game you played.
well, there was a poem that when you got there, they had this poem sitting there. It starts with an S and ends with a T. It comes out of you, it comes out of me. I know what you're thinking, but don't say that. The scientific word for it is scat. And then the game we played at the end was, once she'd explained a lot of things, and I learned so much. The game we played was Who Dung That? It was a little bit different, but it was actually, you know, we'd learned a lot, and it showed that we had. But it was, and I did learn. Mylene was fascinated about, there's some really awful jobs in the national park system. One is, they wanted to know how many berries can a bear eat in a day. Guess how they found out? Every berry, this particular kind of berry, has just one little seed. Somebody had the job of following a bear around, and she said they go 10 times a day. So they had to gather all 10 of those, and then you got sift and count. So that is just, if you think you have a bad job, just keep that in mind.
I think Micro could have done that on Dirty Jobs.
Oh, I think he could have, but they talked about the first scat of the season for a bear coming out of hibernation. And she said someone watched for the bear to come out, and 32 inches long and 2.5-inch diameter. I mean, that's just almost a yard. It's just, okay. You don't want to admit that you really did want to know that. It was a very full day. That program started at 7:30, and of course, we knew it was going to be light when we got back because
it is.
It is. It doesn't get dark. But that was fun. And so, guys, our next episode will come to you from the Teklanika Campground here at Denali National Park. So, stay tuned for the next episode of Alaska on a budget. And speaking of which, we made these reservations on January 5th so that we would be sure that we could get into the park. And this is one of those things where if you're here, this is something we did not want to miss. And so, yes, we paid for a total of 4 nights camping at Denali National Park.
With the senior discount.
But the senior discount here is still $20-something a night. So, you know, we're not saying don't spend any money. We're saying we're picking and choosing, and this was something we chose to do, and we're very thankful that we did. So, next episode of Alaska on a Budget will be from the Teklanika Campground, and as always, thanks for watching Two Tired Teachers.